Wouldn't leave here if he could, even if he could. Hickok 45. Yeah, I was going to sing a little song to you. Again, sorry, don't have it. But anyway, it's your internet shooting companion coming to you from the beautiful hills of Middle Tennessee. Yes, the home of Alvin York, Dolly Parton, and guess who else lately that's pretty famous? The Predators ice hockey team. Yeah, whether you like ice hockey or not, you can't help but love a champion or near champion, right? Someone who does something well and does it very well and actually has some class. You know, I think that's just as important. A lot of people do things well, they lack class. We see it all the time, don't we, on the internet. Anyway, beautiful hills of Middle Tennessee, some of the beautiful rocks of Middle Tennessee. We are back here at an undisclosed location on the compound, about as far back, almost, as you can get on the compound. There's an actual old rock quarry back here that's all grown up, but at some point, I don't know whether it was 1840 or 1940 or when it was, but somebody dug out some rocks, sawed them up, built something with them, I guess. Foundations, houses, walls, who knows what. But anyway, it's pretty well grown up. It's a place John and I have hung out here over the years, especially when he was a little guy. Would come back here and sit. There's a well right here on this rock, another rock you can't see behind you. A lot of rocks you can't see, but we'd sit there and whittle when he was a little guy. Wow, I was a terrible father. I let him actually take a knife and carve on a stick. He was probably, I don't know what he was, beginning at about 2, 3, 4, whatever. Just always been a bad father, you know, bringing kid out into the woods, hiking around, carving on sticks, that sort of thing, you know, all that kind of stuff that's not done as much, is it, these days? So anyway, I got my gun with me. I got a gun with me, a pistol. Pistol is a gun. A rifle is a gun. Shotgun is a gun, okay? We've gone through that before. Oh, these people don't like the word gun. They'll stay out of gun shops and gun shows if they hate the word gun. But this is a gun, specifically a pistol. What is it? The Rex 01 CP. I've never had any requests to do anything with it. Actually, we've had a lot of requests, a lot of them, and I was really not that familiar with it. Got to studying around after about the 400th request, and you guys keep me honest. You know, you really do, because if I get enough requests for something, I start looking around, and what is that? If I don't know what it is. Sometimes I do know what it is. I'm just hard-headed and don't like it, don't want to do a video on it. Actually, that's not really true. There are firearms I don't really care for that if enough of you, request it, we'll get one. Just like the Chiappa Rhino. I don't really like that firearm. You'll never see me buying one, ever. And I don't say that lightly because a lot of firearms I grow to like after a while, but I'm not going to ever have a Chiappa Rhino. I just don't like the thing, even though it shoots well. Good gun, okay? But enough of you already requested it that I tried to do kind of an objective look at it, you know, and I admitted in the video that it's not my favorite cup of tea, but okay, so whatever. The thing works and shoots well. But anyway, this is one. Right now, I've shot it a few times. It seems okay. It's pretty interesting. Man, the price is right, and it is kind of a poor man's SIG. Maybe it's a rich man's SIG. Maybe it's better than a SIG. I don't know. It seems to work and has maybe some advantages over the SIG. I don't know. It's interesting though. But I might lay it down there. Use good grammar. Lay it down there. Once I lay it down, it's lying there. Okay. We need to do another grammar episode, don't we, on the Hickok 45 and Son channel. That'd be a good one. Tackle, lie, and lay. Wow. I thought there as I was holding that up, I need to have a really mean look on my face. As it just occurred to me, something that I talk about occasionally. I don't think I have in one of these boring vlogs or shooting the breezes. Gun magazines especially. Well, on the web too. Any ad, lots of ads, quite often, if they're trying to make a gun look, it's some tactical firearm or a modern firearm generally. They don't usually do it with flintlocks, or or Coach double barrel shotguns, I guess. But with any new pistol or especially black rifles, think about some of the ads you see, like full page, half page and everything. It's some really decked out dude, right? Really operator looking dude, and he's sighting that thing down. And oh man, makes that gun look really effective. Or he's on a range, you know, some tactical range, and you know, and oh boy, or he's got all he's decked out, you know, and all the sponsored looking shirts and everything, and you know what, and I understand that's advertising, but it's just kind of funny, especially the tough guy looking guy. And there are some tough operators, no doubt about it, you know. It doesn't come any tougher than a Navy SEAL, right? Rangers, you know, name a bunch of them. There's just something about the ads, because it's generally some guy that got out of the back room, probably stocking room, and he just looks tough. Makes that gun more saleable, but anyway, it's kind of funny, really. Half the time, the guy probably can't even outshoot you or me. But anyway, that's advertising. Just came to my mind that I probably don't look tough enough when I'm shooting. You think? So anyway, what are we doing? What am I going to talk about? I don't know, really. I just turned on the camera over here in the woods and thought I'd yak at you. It's been, whatever, 3-4 weeks since I've done it. And some of you are so sick, you actually request these crazy pieces of content, whatever it is. So I enjoy talking to you, kind of being more myself. I am myself, but you know, no gun to review, and just kind of yakking about a few things, blessing you with my philosophy, right? My wisdom. Oh man. Oh, speaking of that, this is the week last year I was in the hospital. Wow, what a tough week. Surprise gallbladder surgery, the hard kind and all that. So that was a lot of fun. And later in the summer, I got to go back, a little hernia operation. So I had a lot of fun last summer. I'm hoping I can avoid that this summer. My gosh, that's no fun. It takes away from the shooting endeavors, but it does help you appreciate life. You know, if you don't already. I think I already do and have for a long time. But it's a reminder. Hey, guess what? You know, within the next hour, any one of you or me, we could be riding in an ambulance, speeding, sirens going to a hospital. You know, for whatever, traffic accident, heart attack, anything. Obviously, the list is a mile long. You know, so. And that's generally people's last ride, you know, in the ambulance, back of an ambulance. Not always. But anyway, it helps keep things in perspective when you get a reminder like that. I used to be working in the medical publishing profession. I was in a lot of hospitals and places like that. And that's a good reminder, too. All you have to do, if you haven't been in a hospital in the last 10 years, you're lucky. And I've not been in many other than working like that. So not in and out of hospitals for stuff all the time. That's why last summer was so unusual for me and such a surprise. But all you have to do is go walk through a hospital, right? Just go walk through a few floors. And Children's Hospital, if you want a little reminder about how unfair, you know, life is, because it is. And if that's not evidence, there is no evidence. You know. But anyway, it's great not to be in the hospital. It's great to have the summer, hopefully, to play and work, depending on what you call what we do. Is it work or is it play? You know, a lot of you tell me how much you envy me, and you really should, because I envy me. It's a great, and you know, with largely luck, and it's just great to be able to do what we do. You know, I call it the Hugh Hefner of firearms. You know, just to be able to get almost any firearm we want and shoot firearms all the time, and shoot for a living. And it's kind of every shooter's dream, I guess, in a lot of ways. And I'm actually living it, as many of you have pointed out. And what am I going to do? Say, no, it's a lot harder than it looks, or no, we've worked really hard. Well, we have worked hard, but yeah, we are living the dream. I am living the dream here in my old age. So, but I've always lived the dream. I've enjoyed almost everything I've done, and I miss teaching. You know, I taught for 29 years of my career, and 23 years straight before I had to quit to do this full time. Well, I didn't have to, but I couldn't do both. It was just getting to be too much. I've told you this before, where I taught, I gave them a 2 years notice. It was almost 2 years, you know, the fall of one school year, I said, hey, guess what? I'm not going to be able to do this after next year. It's just no way that I can see I can do both. And so I gave them lots of advance notice on that and everything. So they can spend 2 years trying to find somebody who even came close to me in terms of genius level, right? I knew they would need that amount of time. Oh man, but anyway, it's great to have the summer getting kicked off here, and lots of cool guns we've been shooting. And I know we try not to do too much repetition, at least one after another. If we could do shotguns, we're not going to post like 3 shotgun videos in a row probably. But we've been doing a lot of this kind of thing because so many cool pistols have been coming out, and we don't post them back to back, but it seems like we generally, if you've noticed, post something on Wednesdays. It's usually one of the Bud Z-Gunner auction guns, and quite often lately it's been one of the new pistols. I want to say Wonder 9. That term is overused. They're not Wonder 9s. That's kind of old hat now. They're just good pistols generally. Most of them are good. Even this one seems good. So we've been doing a lot of those. We've had some other cool things. Some things you haven't seen yet. That A5 shotgun I love. Oh man, some full auto stuff. We've been fortunate enough to get our hands on again lately. You saw a little teaser on the AK. You'll see some more AK action. Where John did some serious pot smoking. The big burst 40 rounds. So what else we've been doing? Yeah, I've got a 6.8 SPC video coming out for too long, I guess. LWRC, really cool. Not only is LWRC a really cool rifle, they're expensive, but that cartridge is pretty cool. And of course, a lot of people, it's stupid, get this cartridge, get that cartridge, but there's some interesting stuff there, and so we're going to be posting that. I got another cool gun just the other day that I won't tell you about. I may post something on Facebook about it. It's a little different. I'm looking forward to, I'll give you a clue. I think I'm going to Friendship Saturday up in Indiana, and I need to find some supplies for it. And that's a good place to find them, to load it. So that should be a little bit of a hint there. So lots of stuff going on, and we're just having fun. Whatever YouTube does, YouTube is always, back and forth, and but we're going to continue doing what we do as long as we can do it and everything. We're fortunate to have some really good support, whatever YouTube does. So we can weather the storms, and we're just lucky, as I point out, in a lot of ways. And now again, part of it's luck, but some of it was by plan, but the people who do support us, and I know you know this, most of you, some haters and trolls don't want to know it or don't want to admit it, but not many of those out there. Percentage wise, it's so small, there's not even a decimal place for it hardly, but they're more likely to comment. That's the only thing or difference, I guess. But we really have been very, very fortunate to get help from like BUDS and NRA, federal, and like SDI, because we don't review any of that stuff. We don't review gun shops. We don't review ammo. We just shoot the ammo, really, We don't review, gunsmithing schools, of course, as in SDI's case. We don't review, who am I leaving out? Oh yeah, the NRA. We don't review gun rights organizations. If you've been watching vlogs, radio shows that I've done, we have, by the way, 100 radio shows if you're new to the channel in there, 100 of them. Because at about 100, I said, let's do something a little different. And I started doing them on video. A lot of people had requested that because they weren't getting enough looks at my pretty face. Probably all the women, right? But so anyway, a lot of stuff back there where I talk about all these kinds of things, and all from the beginning I've advised people, join the NRA, then join your state organization, join as many organizations as you can, but we don't really ever review them. Oh, well now, Gun Owners of America, I would do this, I wouldn't join them, or I would join the Second Amendment Foundation because the NRA does it. We've never reviewed those things, and basically won't ever, never. Well, once we get help from somebody, we're obviously not going to review them, and so no interest in doing that anyway. But we're really fortunate because if you think about it, and you people who think can appreciate this, Think about all the gun media out there. Now, YouTube is kind of an exception. Not everything on YouTube, but a lot of YouTube is kind of an exception. And then think about all the shows on TV, all the gun-related shows, people reviewing gun, what are they doing with firearms? Who are they sponsored by? Same with magazines, online or paper in so many cases. Who's advertising? Where are the ads coming from? Gun magazines are the classic on that, of course. Not to slam them. I've been a reader of gun magazines my whole life, but I always have that filter. Just like when I listen to a politician, I have my filter. If I hear a certain politician speaking, I know where he's coming from. I know what his agenda is or her agenda is. Maybe there's something they say makes sense that is useful, but I know their agenda. But anyway, gun magazines are the classic case of that, of course, where it's hard to find an objective review of something. And of course, they're always getting the guns months and months early. So, what they can do, trash it before it comes out, and then never get an ad from Ruger again or Smith & Wesson again. They're out of business. So, anyway, not to pat ourselves on the back, but it is a good place to be. Where we get our help. Google, same way. Google, they'd rather there were no guns probably on YouTube, but be that as it may, that's a totally objective source. They don't they only know what they don't know what this gun is versus a Smith & Wesson. They don't know and don't care and don't want to know, of course. Anyway, we don't review anything that we get help from like that. So the one exception kind of is if some company wants us to review some gun and there's no real competition for it, and they pester us and want us to do it, and I don't know, we look around, think about it, and then like the Bighorn Armory is an example of that. 50 caliber lever guns, nobody else makes one, and it's a cool gun, so that's an exception right there, I guess. Now if Marlin and Winchester and other companies start coming out with 500 Smith & Wesson lever guns, then there'll be a different story there. So there's a little gray area, but by and large, we're in a good spot. We're happy to. So, and I don't point that out to brag about us or to belabor the point, but it's kind of a reminder to you all, and it's because of the number of viewers we have. It's because of you all that we're able to do that. Okay, we get our power, we get our strength from the number of you all out there watching. That's where it comes from. So anyway, appreciate y'all watching. Even over here I'm in like I said, a different spot. It's a long way down. There's a little creek. You can hear the water running. I'll shut up for a second. You hear the stream down there? It's neat. It's tough to get down there to it, but John and I, we hike down in there, especially in the winter when all the foliage is gone, the ticks are gone, and go down there and mess around. Yeah, it is. Actually, we've done a video or two down there for you folks who've been around a while, shooting down there a little bit. I think maybe, I want to think we did a vlog right here. Maybe John and I both sitting on this rock. I know we came back here to do it once, and so there may be one other thing where we were actually right here. You might recognize it, but oh well, anyway. So I hope life's going pretty well for you. I know there's a lot of negative news out there with the terrorist attacks and different things around the planet, but you can only do what you can do. And if it hadn't come to your neighborhood, not to put your head in the sand, but life is not necessarily a dire emergency for you or me right now. We need to support politicians, of course, who are representatives who are working to do something about all this, whatever there is to do about it. And I'm not saying just ignore it, but it's kind of like airplane crashes. If you fly much, the odds are against you having a problem going down. When it does go down, it's very bad for the people on that plane. But it's statistically, the odds are not very high that it's going to happen to you or me. Same with a terrorist attack and that kind of thing. But if you, and we've talked about this before, if you watch media though, if you stay glued to the news all day, especially without a filter in your brain, and you know what I mean by filter. I mean just being aware of the agenda of everybody that's talking, why they're presenting the show they're presenting. Why are they even talking about what they're talking about? Why is it a news alert? Why is it an emergency? Why is it really news? Well, first of all, is it really a news alert? And usually it's not. It's just what they consider news. And then, is it even news? Sometimes, right? I mean, it's a lot of drama because they got to have you watching, right? Just like I've got to have you watching, or else I'm sitting here on this rock in the woods just talking to myself, and I might be in a what do you call it, a straight jacket. Yeah, I want to say a white jacket, a straight jacket. If someone saw me doing it. But they've got to have viewers. It's that same old thing. You've got 24 hours a day. Think about that to fill up now. If you have a news program, a news station, CNN, Fox, and whatever the others are, they got 24 hours to fill. 24. And a lot of hours of prime time and middle of the day, in the morning, and so. Can you imagine being a producer? I often wonder about that. If you watch CNN or Fox, just think about what's coming up next and who we've got to interview next, and eating breakfast or whatever, and I just think, wow, they must have an army of producers, because they not only have to have an interview set up and probably questions, funneled to the people on screen and everything else to ask these people, and lining up those people where they're going to be. You're going to be in studio or not in studio, not only for the next few hours, but for the noon hour, and for 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then for tomorrow it all starts over, and for 3 days from now, what are they going to be doing on Thursday or on Friday at 6 o'clock or at 7? What a challenge that must be. Okay, whatever channel it is, what an incredible challenge. And not only that, they got to have ratings. They're fighting for ratings. So you'll watch Fox or you'll watch CNN instead of Fox, or vice versa, or someone else, or MSNBC, or whatever the channel is. And how they get you to watch? Well, you got to make it interesting, and most importantly, you got to make it seem important, right? You got to make every piece of news seem important. Every little segment. It's a big deal. This is a big deal. You should be concerned about it. That's why I went to college and I learned how to speak with inflection that makes anything I talk about seem important. Really, I mean, people have to do that. If you're like a preacher or you're a newscaster or whatever, you have to speak with authority. You can't sit around and just yak like I do, without, just kind of talking. Now I know when the camera's going a little louder and everything, but by and large, if we do vlogs, we're just kind of talking. John and I do them together. You've seen a lot of those. We feel like we're just sitting around the gun shop or sitting in the living room just chatting, by and large. Okay, you can't do that if you're going to sell somebody something. You can't do that. You've got to have it amped up, and you have your best radio voice and your best sports talk radio voice and all that. And I don't know. All that's always turned me off. I think I've talked about that before. Here I am rambling. I'm sorry, but it's my camera. I can say what I want to it. Isn't it weird? I think so much of what makes us who we are, it's innate. I think it's just born into us. And then, of course, a lot of it's environment. It's a mixture. Duh. You all study human development, just as I have a little bit in school, nowhere else, but I've always had this thing, and John has too. It's funny, an aversion to people that are talking in a way that it's so obvious they're trying to sell me something, and I may do it sometimes too, unintentionally, but that big radio voice, the commercials, oh my gosh, it's just such a turnoff. It's always been that way, just anybody that's just not talking normally, it's just, I find it strange. I find it a little laughable at times. It has no effect on me. Maybe that's the reason. It just has no effect. I guess it does on a lot of people. Really. I mean, just notice the commercials. And it's funny, I listen to sports talk radio sometimes, and or podcasts of any kind, radio, gun radio and everything. But you'll notice it's funny, somebody's talking, just like I'm doing now, about whatever it is, about a firearm, or they could be talking about anything, about how a team's doing. But then, now they're doing a segment for the Chevrolet dealership or whoever it is that's sponsoring them. and they get in this, wow, this over-the-top voice. Now, if you want a Chevrolet truck, you should go to, even they do that, and I don't know where they get that, why they think that's important. I always thought if I had a car dealership or something, whatever I was trying to sell, I was the owner of, let's say, the Nissan or Volvo dealership in Nashville, and I was doing my own ads. I'd maybe not ever sell a car, but I'd say, yeah, I want to talk to the people of Nashville. Give me a minute here. We're going to do a minute commercial. And I would just want to say, hey, everybody, I don't know if you're familiar with us or not, but here at whatever, Hickok 45 Volvo, Nashville Volvo, whatever it is, we have a lot of great choices in cars. Don't know if you're familiar with our cars yet or not. If you do the research, I think you'll find out that they're really well made. They're a little more expensive than some other cars you might be familiar with. But if you come by and take a look at one, I think you'll see why, especially if you take a test drive. And, just kind of look into it, and we'd love to have you come by. We got some donuts in the back, some coffee. If you want to come look at a car and no high pressure, just come and help yourself, make yourself at home. Yeah, what is wrong with that approach? I mean, that appeals to me. I guess it doesn't to a lot of people. You got to have 30,000 balloons going up and everybody screaming at you. So anyway, what's this have to do with guns? I don't know, nothing. But in a way, we can talk about guns anytime. And I think for younger people, if we have some younger people watching these crazy things, one of the things you need to work on is, and I used to talk with my students about this about media. And it's an interesting study, how media works and how people are trying to influence you. And, whether it's clickbait, whatever it is, how they're trying to get you to watch and to get you to believe what they're talking about. It's an interesting study. And I think you need to have your defenses honed in a way, sharpened for that. And just be aware of when someone is covertly trying to influence you or just overtly, realize almost everybody has some sort of agenda, whether it's political, religious, whatever the heck it might be. There's an agenda. There's a reason they want you to believe what they're telling you, okay, or come buy what they're selling, which is okay. It's just be aware of it. Just be aware of it. And I don't know. It's just one of those things that I've always found interesting, advertising, marketing, and how that world works. And maybe the thing that jumps out at me so much, again, it's just that it so often seems so superficial and so stupid. I mean, really, it just seems so shallow and so stupid. And I guess it's kind of sad that it must work, or they wouldn't use that approach. Well, I mean, I guess the evidence is there. Look at all the politicians in your state. A lot of them got elected by, I don't know. Anyway, enough on all that. What else should we talk about? This gun. I don't know a lot about it yet, other than it seems to shoot pretty well, okay? Which is another example of how a firearm that you might not be aware of might be a really good firearm. We've been doing several of these lately, as I was talking about earlier. Wow, we have done the FN 509, the SK, the new VP9 just posted. Colt Cobra, you're not seeing that yet, okay? That's a cool little revolver if you're looking for a revolver that holds 6 rounds. What else have we done? We've done the, oh gosh, it seems like there's another one. The CZ, yeah, P10. They just keep coming, pretty good pistols. And firearms that you wouldn't think, as I've been saying in the videos too, there's just a lot of good choices now. I won't rerun through all of that. But even firearms that were not big names, like maybe this one, might just suit you fine, depending on your budget, because it feels good, and you got the double action or the single action, either one you want, not bad. And I won't say any caliber you want, because it seems that, and one reason you may question that, although I don't really get a lot of criticism about it at all, most of these pistols that I order from Buds, these new pistols, I just want a 9. Give me a 9. The most common, chambering. And I think so many people do use the 9, prefer the 9, and are even going back to the 9, that that, you know, it's just not a big deal. It's a good place to start, you know, because so many people prefer a 9. So that's why we do it, right? And I like a 9. Yeah, let's see, yeah. And speaking of that, I was listening to a podcast. If you have feelings of doubt about the 9mm, some of you don't. You have no doubt that you shouldn't carry a 9. You should carry a 45, right? But you know, the research is pretty much out there. I was listening to a podcast. Who was it? Okay, it was one I hadn't listened to before. I guess on the Firearms network, radio network. I listened to Handgun Radio on there. Ryan Machad and Weird Beard. I don't know if you ever heard those guys. They're pretty good. I sometimes when I'm biking around the compound here, and this was a new one, I think, on that network I found. It's Civilian Carry or something like that. And they were interviewing David's, no, I don't want to say that's the name of a former student of mine. No, this is his name. I think it's Dave Spalding. I think it is Dave. Yeah, I had a student by that name many, many years ago. Dave Spalding. And that's another story. But he is a long-time cop and a gun writer. I've read his articles before, and I don't know everything about him, but I know he shows up all the time as an expert. He does training and everything. And he was talking about, he made several really good points, but he was talking about how he had attended a lot of, I'm pretty sure this was him, don't quote me, but yeah, it was that one, because that's all I haven't listened to anything else like that in the last week, I don't think. But he was talking about how he actually, in some of his capacity, he had to attend autopsies, and he talked to a lot of medical examiners, and if you talk to surgeons, he said that what they will tell you is, and this is kind of quoting him, paraphrasing, is they cannot tell what caliber somebody was shot with. They can't tell what it was unless they can find the bullet. You know, and I'm sure there's exceptions, but by and large, they can't tell. The popular calibers, you know, the 9, the 40, the 45, even 380, I think you threw in there. They look the same. They do basically the same damage, you know. So now, I don't know, in terms of stopping power, it might be a little different. You don't know. When the guy's lying there in the morgue, you know, and you're looking at the results, you might not be able to tell any difference. Maybe a 45 would slow him down fast. I don't know. We could go through that all day long, right? That argument has gone on since I've been alive, longer than that. But don't feel like you're under gun because you're carrying a 9 or even a 380 with modern ammo, because it's all you need. You know, we watch too many movies. Don't we? That's where a lot of this comes from. You're under gun with a handgun to begin with. You know, a handgun. You know, you want a shotgun with slugs. You know, and there's even reports of that not stopping a bad guy. You know, but anyway, don't worry about, don't fret about your 9mm. Just get some good ammo, whatever kind it is. You know, good modern carry ammo, and there's so many more important factors in your defensive firearm than 5 grains of bullet weight, or you know, just 2 or 3 millimeters, you know, in terms of the diameter of that bullet. You know, there's so many way more important factors. You know, if you want to be successful at defending yourself, the real success is never having to even pull out a firearm. Okay, you don't want to have to do that, because that starts a long chain of events for you or me, and court, expense-wise, and all, maybe regrets, and maybe make a mistake. This starts a long chain of events that we really don't want any part of. Okay, but better to have it and not need it, and to really, really desperately need it and not have it. Okay, so but anyway, don't worry about your 9. It'll work fine. It really will. Oh man, there was something else I was going to say. I wasn't going to spend 5 minutes on the NRA, but on any gun rights organization, and I was reminded of this just this week because I got a bunch of mail. People complain about getting mail from, well, especially the NRA, or even phone calls, which I don't get. I guess I told them to quit calling years ago. But so you can do that. You know, you can cut the mail off, but I get a bunch of mail. I need to do it with the other gun rights organizations I belong to, because I get all these envelopes. I don't even open them. I get tons of stuff, you know, from Gun Owners of America, some from the Second Amendment Foundation. The Jews for the Preservation of Gun Ownership, I don't get much there, I have to say. But that's kind of typical, right? And the reason I was going to mention that is it used to bother me a lot, but when I was I was kind of in marketing and I guess in sales, not that I was any kind of expert for sure. I just had some success in the field when I was in publishing, and I kind of got promoted in some things that I probably wasn't really qualified for. But anyway, I know how those things work. I know that I remember a direct mail campaign was one of the most effective ways to promote something. You know, with any business or company I've been associated with, that's just common knowledge. I don't know if it still is or not, you know, days of the internet, but it's a very effective method for fundraising. Think about if you make a contribution, I mean, I've done that over the years, make a contribution to, like when the tsunami hit, something that I normally don't contribute to, but you know, well, for the next 10 years, you're getting mail, you know, like every week, you know, wanting more contributions, whether it's your public radio station, whatever it is. Once you make a contribution, once you're on the list, it's just the way it goes. Because it is very effective. And people will say, and it sounds logical, well, I could spend that money to, you know, hire another lawyer, or, you know, to do something useful about gun rights instead of wasting all this money sending it to me or whoever, you know, asking for more money and that kind of thing. Well, yeah, that makes logical sense. It makes logical sense to me. It always has. However, knowing how things go in business and how, like as I was just saying, how effective direct mail is, and you know, and I don't know what the numbers are, but you know, someone who does that for a living will tell you, if you send out 1,000 pieces of mail and you get this response, it's been successful, and it doesn't take a lot. You know, if a couple of those people send back a few $100 or something, it more than pays for. And so they generate a lot of money. Look at the Wounded Warriors or any of these large charity organizations. And I know they have a checkered past that I guess they've kind of started clearing up. I don't know, but you know, they just inundate you. You could say the same thing for any of those. St. Jude's, all these wonderful charities. You could, hey, if they quit running all these commercials, they'd have some money to take care of the kids. Sounds logical, doesn't it? Except the numbers show that when they run those commercials, it brings in the money. When they send out the mailings, it brings in the money, way more than it costs to do it. Okay, so anyway, that doesn't make it any less a nuisance to always be getting a bunch of mail. But I mean, just believe it, know it. I mean, that's kind of I think that's pretty much the case. It's effective. It's effective. Okay. In fact, John and I are going to start a direct mail campaign, and you are going to start getting about 15 pieces of mail every month to remind you to watch our videos. We'll see if it works. No, but it is. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I mean, I just, it's so much mail. I mean, it goes in the burn barrel. You know, I don't even open it. In fact, I make the mistake of not finding my new membership cards and stuff sometimes. I have to go back online or something and get it, because I just toss it. You know, that's one reason. I'm a life member of several organizations, Second Amendment, the state organization, and I should just go ahead and be a life member of all of them, so I don't have to worry about my membership card showing up 3 years later, you know, and I put it in the burn barrel. But anyway, and that does make sense to support that stuff. I'm not a lawyer. Most of you are not lawyers. You need people out there doing that kind of thing. So whatever the organization is, we're getting a lot of support, you know, from the NRA. We want to, and I've always supported them, and I've always been a member, and I always will be. As I've said before, they're far from perfect, but the same with any large organization, Gun Owners of America, you name any of those gun rights organizations, and somebody who really knows what goes on will tell you, they could probably convince you to not rejoin, right? Whatever it is, your church or any organization, whatever it is, you could be convinced to resign from your job probably if you knew everything that goes on, or knew all the decisions that were made and the things that you just, why that was crazy, why'd they do that, you know. So anyway, we expect perfection, I think, too often. But anyway, what else? Well, I hope you're getting a chance to shoot, because that's what this is all about. Hopefully you're getting a chance maybe now to diversify a little bit. We've talked about that a little bit. Now that the I guess the scare is kind of subsided for a while, but it'll be back. I've seen this cycle so many times. But for right now, people aren't rushing in and buying black rifles and, oh man, I better stock up on magazines and ammo and get me another AR before I can't buy one. I don't have the right to buy one, you know, in a few months or a year or whatever. Well, right now, some of that pressure's off. It'll be back. But again, it's a good time to diversify a little bit. Buy something that they've always thought was pretty cool. And obviously, our videos are a pretty good resource because I like them all. Whether it's a muzzle loader, you know, you might, if you've never tried muzzle loading, that might be something you want to try to get into. You can find some of those really reasonably priced. That your big box stores or just anywhere, you know, you don't have to go look for an original $3,000 shotgun or Hawken rifle. Well, if it's an original Hawken, it'd be more than that. But you know what I'm saying, somewhat custom built. You know what I'm saying. And just try it out, see how you like it. Get all the pieces you want. I would encourage you to try black powder. You know, if you have any interest at all in history, it'd be cool. You could probably pick up what is that company, Traditions or a Thompson Center, I don't know, some of those for $200-300 maybe. I don't know what they sell for now. In a traditional one, it'd be my preference. And get some black powder. It's not always easy to find, but it's out there. And just see what it was like to be a mountain man, maybe. Since you don't have to be worried about getting another black rifle. Or what else? Maybe a revolver. If you're still one of those sad, sorry, lame folks out there who does not have a revolver, hey, there's a thought. Get you a revolver. They are so much fun. They really are. And as we've talked about before, it doesn't have to be your perfect carry gun. Get that established. Your carry gun, as I say over and over, it's like a hammer. It's like your wallet. It doesn't need to be pretty. It doesn't need to be aesthetically gorgeous or pleasing, really. It just needs to work every time and feel good in the hand, and you need to be able to shoot it pretty well. Beyond that, it doesn't matter. It needs to be reliable. Did I say that? Extremely reliable. 100% if possible. And then forget it. It can be ugly. Doesn't matter. But these other firearms that you enjoy, the range, don't try not to think about them as, well, now see, this isn't a very good defensive gun. It only holds 6 or 5 or 7. So what? It's not going to be your go-to gun probably. It's one you could use if you needed to, but it's not going to be your primary defensive firearm. Even your house gun, maybe. Just enjoy the world. What if you had, you won the lottery? Now you're a car guy, car girl, let's say, and you won the lottery, a couple of billion or 800 million or something. And, oh man, all these cars you've always been fascinated by. Well, you're not buying all these. You'd probably buy 10 or 20 or 30 cars maybe. They're not all your daily commute. Well, you wouldn't be commuting anymore probably, right? But if one was only good for driving on Sundays, so what, Or this one was an old antique that will barely go up a hill. So what? It's a really cool old car. It's very historical. I don't know. You know what I'm getting at there, don't you? Yeah, you all understand. So anyway, I probably have talked too long. And one thing I've meant to mention that I have not yet, I don't think, but I sold my motorcycle. And of course, 80% of you say, oh, you had a motorcycle? I sold my Harley. Well, John did too, but he was moving and just didn't have a good place and wasn't riding it much. And in my sense, I had room. I got 40 acres here, but it was in the way where I wanted to keep it, out of the weather. And my bicycles, I have a mountain bike and a road bike, and I don't know, I wasn't focusing on those, and I was not riding the Harley. Over the 4 years I owned it, I really enjoyed it that first year and the second year, but I noticed I wasn't getting on it as much. And I'd go out for a ride, and I'd get almost to Clarksville, which is 20 miles up the road, and I'd plan to go on a long ride, and I said, okay, that was fun. I'd turn around, head back to the house, and do something with firearms. It was just, it wasn't until I owned one that I realized, okay, this is kind of fun, but I'm not driven to it. It's like, I guess, a horse or something. I've never been driven to horses. I don't not like them. I just have no doubt I could have a horse here if I wanted. I just I got to where I just wasn't riding it, and you really do need to stay on those things if you're going to have them. And there's a little more danger there, but I took the course and I had the experience. I'm glad I did. But I just wasn't riding the thing, and I'd go for 2-3 weeks and be nice weather like today, and I got other things to do, so I wasn't like making myself, I wasn't carving out time to do it, and like I might for shooting. I finally realized, you know, I guess I'm just not driven to do this really, and it's in the way, and it's just getting older, and I didn't need the money, but I just put it on, where did I put it? Craigslist. I sold the thing. In fact, there was a viewer ended up buying it. It's funny. I didn't know it till we met, but so anyway, I hope you're enjoying it. It was a Road King Classic, a nice bike, and so anyway, it's just another episode in my life of things that I've kind of gotten into and done for a while. So I took the class, I enjoyed the class, and I enjoyed riding it, you know, for a while, and it just kind of just sort of was there and in the way. So yeah, I sold it. So I'm just not, I could rent one, you know, and go riding sometime, but I don't know, just sold it. I'm sorry, I'm not a true Harley guy, you know. So anyway. And there is something about the culture. It's kind of weird. You feel like you got to dress like a pirate to partake. You know, almost. I mean, nothing wrong with it. It's cool. And most of the people I've met, most, not all, for sure, most people that ride motorcycles, they're like shooters. You know, they enjoy life and doing stuff like that. You know, so it's a good group of people by and large. But anyway, so I'll let you know, since you haven't seen the motorcycle for a while, just let the thing go. Yeah, and I'm glad to have it out of the way. I've been getting on the bicycles more now and keeping them in shape and riding around the place. So, and that was part of it too. I wanted to make sure I don't get away from bicycling because I enjoy doing that. Yeah, I don't do it enough, but I enjoy it. So, what else could I bore you with? Well, we just appreciate you guys, and glad you come by and watch, as I often say, and don't say it enough. We enjoy doing what we're doing still, and you know, there's always another firearm. There's always some interesting firearm. We got the new firearms coming in. They're being built. We got so many firearms that are fairly new, maybe, that we still just haven't gotten to. And we got all these historical firearms, you know, Western firearms or just whatever. So it's a big world. It's a big hobby. And I find almost every firearm that I put my hands on interesting in some way, and we continue to try to bring that to you. Okay, so what else? I think we have a meet and greet coming up. We'll put it in the description. Remember to always read the description. I need to update them now because of we're going to have a meet and greet up in Lexington, Kentucky at the Bud's Gun Shop. I think July the 1st. But I'll verify that. It'll be in the descriptions here within probably pretty soon. But that's the 1st of July, probably from 10 to 12. But again, check the descriptions. So if you live anywhere around Kentucky, I know you don't have an internet in Kentucky, but if you live anywhere outside close to Kentucky, you know, get the word and come on in, and hope you can make it to that. Now Kentucky, they're not that far behind because we ship VHS tapes up there, you know, by the truckload. So they see our videos, so they know. It's just a matter of where there's a little bit of a lag time with that, more so than with you all. I can post this on the internet in a couple of days, and you all will be seeing it, so you'll know about that. But the time we get this on VHS, you know, we get them copied, enough of them, because we copy, I think it's 100,000 of them every month for Kentucky, and then we, you know, ship them up there, distribute them. So they're a little bit longer, you know, finding out about things. So, but anyway, it's been good to chat with you. And by the way, you know, I'm from Kentucky. Look at the FAQ videos. You'll know almost everything you need to know. Okay? Answers all questions. I always have a hard time signing off for some reason because I always feel like there's probably more. And I like to keep these a little bit shorter because they end up a lot of memory, eat up a lot of memory. I can't even post them on full 30 because once you get past, I guess, about 4 gigs or 3.5 gigs or something, it's too much for full 30. So, and we like to have everything on both places if possible. You know, if YouTube goes down, it's all over there. And almost every shooting video is over there. But if we get one that's going like 50 minutes, it's not going to fit over there, or even 40 minutes. I think 32 minutes or something is kind of the cutoff right now, but they're working on that. So anyway, good to see you guys. I don't know how y'all got over here in the woods with me like this. Kind of scary. Kind of scary. Hope you didn't pick up any ticks. Don't get too many mosquito bites. And we really do appreciate you all, and we hope you tune in again, because I'll probably yak at you again sometime, and you know that's going to happen, don't you? So you know what about life. Oh, forgot about my hat. Yeah, I wasn't necessarily trying to sell hats. This is one of our hats. I was in the shed, and I didn't have a hat. I'll go back in the house, get one of my hats, because you wouldn't recognize me if I didn't wear my hat. And this thing was hanging there somewhere in the corner. I'll just put that on for now. So anyway, yeah, by the way, we do have, you know, some of you still don't know that, I guess, but it's in the description. We have t-shirts and hats and what else, a couple of patches, that kind of thing. So jump in there on some of that if you'd like. Goodbye. Life is good.